How did your family and the people around you react to your conversion to Islam?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. How my family reacted was a mix of reactions. My father, because he wasn't really a practicing religious person, he couldn't really say anything, so he didn't really react either way. My mother, because she had taken responsibility for our religious upbringing, she felt, I think, that she had failed. At first, which is hard to see your mother feel like you failed her. But as time went on, and especially as my children were born and grew up, and they're praying and they're reciting Quran and they're doing this thing, and she understands that it's not a phase and it's not a dangerous sort of cult or anything like that. That I have a position of leadership. I give speeches, I give talks, I travel and try to reach people and connect with people. That she understands that this is something that's actually very important. My wife was supporting me. She did not accept Islam right away, but she got me a prayer rug and she got me CDs. We were using CDs back then of the Quran and things like that. And so there's a degree of acceptance that I can't complain about.
So how did your wife become Muslim in the end?
There was an Imam that was also a convert and who had graduated from the Islamic University of Medina. And so I took some classes with him and I started to get close with him. And he suggested that I apply as well to the Islamic University of Medina. And so I started getting the application ready and he wrote me a recommendation letter and I applied. It was a year or two later I was accepted. And one of the problems and one of the major sort of obstacles I faced and one of the leaps of faith that I had to take was that, Medina is only a place where Muslims can live. And at that point, my wife was not a Muslim. So I basically went ahead with it, hoping in Allah that she would become Muslim before I had to go if I got accepted, and not really knowing what I was going to do if that didn't happen. And subhanAllah, I'm really glad that I did, because just maybe some months before I got the acceptance letter from Medina, she also took her Shahada and became a Muslim. So it all worked out. She definitely was coming along in her own ways, but she had more hesitation than I did, and she had more sort of unresolved issues than I did. She also was afraid of doing it for me. She wanted to make sure that she was doing it for herself, which I respect a lot. And it was funny because we moved around quite a bit. I won't get into the details, but we were in a new community and we lived very close to a masjid. And we went a couple times to talk. I said, if you have any questions, we can go talk to the Imam. And we did a couple times, but it never really did anything. And then one of these times we were in there talking to the Imam. She was asking some questions. And then he just asked her, why don't you take your Shahada? And she did. She said she did. And after that, she's like, I'm not sure why I did. But it was something that, she continued to grow into. And at first she was like, what did I just do almost? But as the days and weeks and months passed, it was something that she grew into very nicely. And then it became, kind of the obvious thing to do.
What were the challenges that you faced after becoming Muslim?
So there were several points at which I had to give things up, or I decided to give things up, and they were wonderful, amazing decisions. One of the first things that I did when I became a Muslim was I stopped playing music. I was a very capable musician before Islam. Maybe there was some disagreement or there was this and that opinion, but I just said, I know myself. And I know what it feels like to be on stage and what it feels like to play for people and these sorts of things. And I know right away that it's not good for the soul. There were, certain things like when it came to jobs. Okay, so I had worked in restaurants for some years. It just wasn't suitable anymore. I mean, there was alcohol and pork in the restaurant. There were women that would flirt with you. They would give you their number sometimes and things like that. And so I didn't have another job lined up, but I decided one day, I just can't keep doing this. And I just decided to put in my 2 weeks, as we say, and leave. Allah replaced it. That's the thing. And so I got another job in no time.